everybody, and welcome to this week's Cruise Chat. I'm Kathleen Penner, owner of Plenty of Sunshine Travel, and today I'm joined by Charmaine, and Charmaine is from Tauck Cruises, and we're going to be going over some of their new exciting itineraries that they have. If you want to look back at our past episodes, I have met with Charmaine twice before, and it is episodes 12 and 24, but do come back to this one because we're going to be covering some great stuff. So over to you.
Great. Thanks so much. And I said, we were just talking earlier off camera, Kathleen, about how feeling a little bit of cautious optimism as we head into the springtime. So depending on when people are watching it, I think it's exciting to just talk about a season that is opening, right? And so
Yes.
hopefully 2021 is a year of opening. I think it will be a slow open. But for 2022, we're very excited. So there's a couple of really big events going on in Europe for next year. And of course, one of the big ones is Floriade. So we'll talk a little bit about that, and I'll show you some of the great itineraries that we do. And then just a quick reminder about Tauck for any of you maybe joining or listening in to my little chat for the first time. We've been around for a long time. We've got a wonderful story, and I won't maybe bore you with the full story together. Our story again, you can watch one of the earlier episodes about traveling on the Studebaker in 1925. But I think it's just really important to just remind you that this is a company we've been around for a long time. We've been doing it. We've survived many things over those 25 plus years now, and where we had to shut down during the Second World War. So again, just to give you that peace of mind that we're all about, ensuring that our guests' safety, their health is the most important thing. So we'll be careful and cautious. We're not jumping into anything too quickly here in 2021. And then hopefully for next year, we'll be able to get back to I don't even know normal what that looks like anymore, right?
Get
So
back to sailing anyway.
yeah, exactly. And then just a reminder that what I'll talk about a little bit here is, can change. It can change tomorrow. It can change in 10 minutes. But we have put a number of policies and protocols in place, just again, for your peace of mind. And one of them is the Travel Well Pledge. And these are all documents that will need to be signed by every guest prior to departure, where you commit to ensuring not only your own health and safety, but those of others. So where we are required to wear masks, whether you've been vaccinated or not, will still be a necessary part of everything that we do. So, so all of these will evolve and change. Fluid, I think, is the word of the scenario that we're in. But yeah, even just spacing on coaches and so on and so forth. So because even with our water products, of course, we still use land ways of traveling like coaching. So so all of these things will continue to evolve. They'll be updated on the website, of course, as we go along, but just wanted to touch base on that. And then again, some people are still really hoping that they can travel this year. And we're still hoping as well too, definitely be more into the summer or fall months. We have had to cancel currently all of our journeys up until the end of May right now, just because of borders not reopening. And so that's also the next big thing is, any of that. So any of our guests that are booked for this year know that they can decide at any time. Even if we haven't done anything yet, if they're booked for later on this year and they're just not feeling maybe the destination or what have you, they can make a change at any time and switch it over to next year or for later on in the year. So, and again, what we've always believed in at Tauck is pillars and building everything we do. And we call our product team architects. So what their role is to truly design and architect some incredible journeys, but always keeping in mind, going back to what Arthur believed in 1925. And relationships is probably one of the most important things. It allows us to enhance our destination cruising. And of course, we'll talk a little bit about that when we get to the Floriade part of it. But just as I said, it's just, I think, important to understand there are differences between every company. We all do things a little bit differently, even if it looks on the surface that we're all doing the same thing. But ultimately at Tauck, we're really focused on that destination experience and really giving our guests that full experience of what we've done on land journeys for so long,
Mhm.
that's what we bring onto the ship. So our incredible directors, and I'll show you some of those guys here in a minute. I think that's a new slide for me. But again, just really focusing on keeping everything fluid. There we go. We're on the river. It's fluid,
Yeah, there
but
you
also, the same experience that they receive on the ship. We're able to deliver it on the land side of things. And always, 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 our relationships with these places that we visit, with other families. We're able to take all of our guests on every river itinerary to these incredible private chateaus, palaces, castles for an incredible dinner with entertainment, the Palle Pallavicini on the right. I'll mention that again in a minute. And I know we talked a lot about it in our Danube one, which we did.
Mhm.
Right? I think, was that the last one or the one before? I forget, doesn't matter. Um, and then here, I just wanted to show you some of our incredible Tauck directors. And, this is another key difference with Tauck. And it does a number of things. So every ship has at least 3 or 4. In this case, there were 4 of them. Jeremy on the right-hand side in that very colorful pink and blue that he's got on. He is a cruise director. And so Jeremy's role is always to sort of remain with the ship. And in past years, Kathleen, you may recall that sometimes on river we have other issues than what we have currently, like water levels, right?
Mhm, mhm.
So the beauty with Tauck is that it's a team. And so the cruise director's role is really to remain the liaison. We joke that they only stay with the ship. So they're not part of the touring team when they go off the ship, as the other directors would do, because
Mhm.
their role is really to remain always with the guests. So if the journey starts with a couple of hotel nights in Amsterdam, for example,
Mhm.
they're going to be there when the guests arrive and take them sightseeing and arrange that in that aspect. Whereas the cruise director is always there on the ship, making
Mhm.
sure that things are running smoothly, and simple things like just transfers.
Mhm.
Because we do arrange those privately so that you're traveling specifically to your flight schedule as opposed to the whole ship's. And so that's just one of the many jobs that he does. But again, it just allows for that more personalized experience. And one of my favorite things that they do is that on board the ship, they can do the commentary, of course, when you're in some of the most scenic parts of the rivers, but also just lectures.
Mhm.
So there'll be different ones that they do based on their own personal experiences. I've traveled with Anita, who's standing next to Jeremy, and she's a former FBI agent.
Oh, wow.
Um, yeah, now she didn't do a talk on what it was like to be the day in the life of an FBI agent,
Mhm.
but it certainly meant for some interesting conversations at different times. But again, it really will vary with all the itineraries that we go on. And then that's partnered with our local guides. So some people
Mhm.
think that we just have the directors, and of course, they're not the local experts. Many of them are from Europe. The other 2 directors that were in that photo are both European based, and we tend to do that, a combination of North American and European guides on our riverboats. But you need those local guides to really give you that in-depth experience. And again, using the Voxes as well too, those little earpieces, so that
Mhm.
you don't have to always stand so close. And again, this will come into more play when we get to Floriade, because we will have a local dedicated Floriade guide to really explain what all of that means. And here, of course, we have, again, every journey, almost every day, I would say that there are different choices of activities, but it doesn't mean they're all active. I had somebody call their agent after I did one of these little chats, and they thought, but I don't want to bike every day. No,
You won't be forced to, no.
you will not. Exactly. No one will
Yes.
force you to do so. So there are the
Mhm.
bicycles on board. And of course, in Holland, where we're going to be talking today, cycling is a very important part of their lifestyle.
It is.
But right? Yeah, I have been well, pretty much almost run over on multiple occasions by bicycles in
Mhm.
Amsterdam. So you look for cars, but mostly you look for bikes. Um, but yeah, so no, you don't have to. Obviously, we do lots of sightseeing with the coaches or with different other forms of transportation. But there are lots of opportunities to cycle or hike or bike or walk or whatever your choice may be. But there are definitely choices from a sightseeing perspective, not just always with the active ones. And of course,
Mhm.
that's important too. And about half of our journeys in Europe, although I was just thinking today, I'm highlighting 4 that I think only one or maybe none of them actually hotels built into them. But traditionally, about half of our river cruise journeys include hotel stays. And I know we mentioned it with the Rhone and with the Danube on our other two series.
Mhm,
So
mhm,
yeah, so lots of iconic hotels in great locations,
mhm.
so that when you've got a little more free time, which you tend to do with, especially on land, to be able to really enjoy all of those wonderful things.
And those are
So
great
yes,
hotels to have included. I mean, those are
right?
some quality hotels, beautiful house.
Yeah, and they really do add to the journey. And again, that goes back to our incredible architects. Quite often, guided companies, or however you want to refer to some journeys that are designed
Mhm,
for you as opposed to an independent, they often look at things from a convenience, getting you to the airport the next day or getting you to the wherever they happen to be. But with
mhm,
Tauck, everything comes back to the guest experience. So we really want to make sure that you're in the right location. And so some city hotels will vary on the itinerary and the
mhm.
focus of that particular. So even if you're in the same city on a different itinerary, you may be staying in different hotels. So it
Yeah,
really does specifically to that. Anyway, so
great.
just a quick
Yes.
overview in case some of us have forgotten what Europe looks like.
Mhm,
So here's our map. So we're going to focus, of course, today primarily up in that north west corner in the
mhm.
Holland, Netherlands area, but we do offer journeys throughout Europe on all of the main rivers. And well, actually, we'll talk a little bit about the one that goes literally from the North Sea to the Black Sea,
Okay.
because it will be, yeah, I won't give that away. All right. So some people are wondering, what is a Floriade? And it's easy to understand why you may not remember, because we hold it, or I don't hold it. In Holland, they host Floriade every 10 years. It started in the 60s,
Mhm.
and it is obviously all about flowers, and what an incredible country to do so, since they are so well known for their tulips and for their other beautiful flowers. Um, and it's hosted by the Dutch Cultural, no, sorry, the Dutch Horticultural Council, and that's who hosts it. That's who designs it. It's held in different parts of the Netherlands every 10 years. And this year it's actually going to be hosted in, hold on, I just got to check my notes. The town is called Almere. Now, Almere, this time, which is really going to work out well for everybody, for us especially,
Mhm.
is that it's about 45 minutes outside of Amsterdam.
Nice. Okay.
So, yeah, so it's not too far from the city.
Mhm.
And then we'll also be able to, we've been able to secure docking space about 15 minutes from Almere, because traditionally when people visit Floriade, you'll want to be there for a good portion of the day. And for those that may not want to spend all day, we'll endeavor to run shuttles where we can, depending on
Mhm.
the itinerary, to take you back and forth to the ship. But so it will be running from the 14th of April, as you can see on the bottom of the
Mhm.
screen, to the 9th of October. So unlike Kuchenhof, which we'll talk about in a minute, which is only 8 weeks of the tulip season, this is going to run pretty much the whole main season for Europe for next
Mhm.
year. And so we're going to be able to offer it on more journeys because of that. So traditionally we do a tulip festival one, which I'll show you here in a moment. So the whole theme, so similar to when we, if anybody's ever gone to an expo, like I'll date myself, Expo
Mhm.
67 in Montreal, but Expo in other cities as well too, is there's always a theme. And a really key important one, I think, for next year is green.
Mhm.
And so this city is actually, it's being built as a city, and then it will remain after Expo is finished next year as a living city. So the whole purpose of it is to showcase green energy, green way of living, growing your own plants. You and I were just talking about gardening earlier. So taking that even to the next level, again, because keeping in mind the climate in the Netherlands is a little bit warmer for the most part, than we are. So they're
Mhm.
able to do so much more. So there's a lot of different aspects to this. Again, it's really about utilizing green energy, all sorts of different things to be able to showcase that to the world. So that's really the theme for Floriade for 22. But the theme is still showcasing the beautiful flora and fauna of the Netherlands. So one of the key things that guests will be able to visit is the Arboretum. And there, Arboretum, well, whatever. Tomato. So it's all about showcasing a whole variety of plants and flora, alphabetized, so that guests can walk through it and really see and learn about all sorts of different things as they travel through this incredible city. Oh, I'm just going to go back to this for a second. The other thing I just wanted to mention that somebody had said to me, well, I don't really like flowers. I don't know if I want to spend all day. It isn't just that. Like, there will be food, of course, there will be entertainment. So there's a whole speakers, there'll be a variety of things. The other thing I just wanted to mention is that, again, going back to relationships, that we'll be gaining access into Floriade an hour before it opens. And
Oh,
if
great.
anybody, right,
Yeah.
has ever visited any kind of a event like this, getting that extra hour really does allow you more time to really see some of the busier parts, right, where it's not so busy. So we always try to do that where we can. And the other thing is that we'll be giving all the guests like because it'll be a cashless setup, of course, as everything moves forward, is a card loaded with funds. I believe 25 euros, but maybe don't quote me on that. But a certain amount that the guests can then go and get their own lunch, a coffee, buy flowers, whatever they want to do with it. There's no judging. But they can certainly then take advantage of being able to do whatever they like on their free time. So again, we'll have a local guide, an expert of Floriade, taking our guests around in small groups. So let me show you now the itineraries where you can participate and take in this incredible event, which I think is just perfect timing for 22 as we hopefully start to, right? I love
Have
that
new
sigh for
beginnings.
sure.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So coincidentally, in 2020, we would have had a brand new tour, and it's going to work perfectly for 22 now that will be, well, hopefully we'll get to run a few of these later on this year, but this is a cruise only, but it is just in the one country. So it is strictly traveling around in Holland. Lots of interesting visits and sites, and going to Rotterdam, for example, and we'll be having a food tour there. But one of the key events, as I mentioned before, what we love to do with all of our guests is take you out for a wonderful special dinner. And so on this particular journey, we'll be going to, now I'm probably going to mispronounce this, but I think it's Moritz House in Den Haag. But this is where this house or museum houses many of Vermeer and Rembrandt's paintings. And of course, the one it's most famous for is the girl with the pearl earring. So we'll have a wonderful private event here with dinner, and they'll be able to enjoy and take in many of the art with just the Tauck clients. So it'll really be a special, special evening. So this traditionally is our springtime journey, Belgium and Holland. So it combines the two countries. And as you can see on the top there, it's only run in April and May, so to take advantage, of course, of the peak flower season. And with this one, again, some of the visits will be similar. As you can see, it goes as well to Moritz House. But here, one of the big focuses, well, visiting the Kinderdijk Museum, which again, we do on both journeys. And if you've not been there to see these incredible windmills, it is, I mean, people lived in them. I think that was some of the things I took away from my visit was I didn't, you see the windmills, it's a symbol of visiting the Netherlands, right? But
Yes.
they are actual homes. So people lived in
Wow.
them for many years. They're very old. And how they positioned the windmill told stories of births, deaths, perhaps some other things. Go down that road.
Yeah.
But a variety of different things were told by how they positioned the windmill.
That's
So this,
fascinating. Yeah.
yeah, they really are incredible, incredible. And at Kinderdijk, you get to go in them. A couple of them are open. People still live in some of them, but you can walk or bike around and have a look. And it really, yeah, it's just incredible, I have to say. And there are so many of them. It's just amazing that they've been able to preserve them so well. But the big feature feature really and truly with the journey in the springtime is Kuchenhof. And Kuchenhof is this spectacular garden. It runs for 8 weeks every spring. The first time I went here, my parents, we were posted in Germany when I was a young girl. And so at 13 or 14, however old I was, I wasn't really that into flowers. My parents were. So it was one of those trips we got dragged along to. My brother and I would have much rather been doing other things. My sister was too young to know anyway, but somebody was going to buy her ice cream. And so she was happy. But I have to tell you that we were both mesmerized. We were talking about this not too long ago, that it was absolutely one of our favorite trips we did with my parents. And it really is spectacular when you see these fields of flowers and colors. And the one thing I know, somebody expressed concern to me when it runs for 8 weeks. Well, we all know tulips don't last 8 weeks, but they actually layer the bulbs so that they are continuously in bloom
Right. Yeah.
for the 8 weeks. Yeah. So just a little thing, because some people think, oh, maybe I need to go on this week. It doesn't matter when you go. During those 8 weeks, you will be able to take in this incredible garden experience, because it really is just spectacular, and every color. And I was mentioning to you earlier that we were talking about Floriade at our company meeting last week, and one of the Tauck family members was listening in and jumped on and said that we actually have a Tauck tulip. So
Wow.
apparently when you go, yes, I don't know if you can still buy the tulip, but anyway, there's a tulip. So we must have done something at some point to warrant that. But anyway, so those are two that really focus on specifically on the Netherlands, and in that case, Belgium. However, there are still two other itineraries that we'll be able to take in Floriade as well too. And not to pick favorites, but this is one I think personally is just a really great itinerary. Many people may have traveled on the Rhine, but this combines the Rhine with the Moselle. And the Moselle River is truly one of the most gorgeous rivers in Europe. Again, not picking favorites. So this one sails between Amsterdam and Basel. And so again, we'll have the opportunity to visit Floriade. And here, the our sparkling event is at Ershoven, the Schloss Ershoven, which is a beautiful chateau on the Rhine. It's got a great backstory to it. It's still lived in. It is privately run, and it's one of those things where you feel like maybe you've I don't know whether you've a celebrity or you just sort of step back into time, but you go into this gorgeous estate. They've got these beautiful big gates. There's music playing. The one trip I visited, it was a gentleman on a sax. Another time it was a trio. But you walk in and someone's handing you champagne, and it's just this magical,
Wow.
wonderful evening, right? And then you go inside and they share the story of the chateau, and it's really quite interesting. And then, as I said, you have this wonderful dining experience. They give you a small tour of it, and the music continues to play as you dine. So and everyone's in different rooms, so it's not like you're all just in a big ballroom. It really is a more intimate type of chateau versus the Palais Pallavicini, which I'll talk about next. But anyway, so this is another opportunity to be able to take in Floriade, but not necessarily spend all your time in Holland. And again, for people perhaps that still haven't done much in the way of river cruising, this is really a great itinerary in the sense that it literally starts and either ends it goes in both directions. So between Amsterdam and the Black Sea, and well, Budapest, really, sorry, it doesn't go all the way to the Black Sea. So, but 2 weeks allows you to visit multiple countries, the three rivers. So you have the Rhine, the Main, and the Danube. And one of our directors, and her name just left me, but she was the blonde in the photo earlier. She and I were talking about this because she works this journey quite a bit. And she was explaining to me that it's really for people that just want a little more relaxed pace. So it's not as busy as a 1 week itinerary. If you look at where you stop here on the Rhine in comparison to the Rhine and Moselle, for example, you often have more time. You're not doing more than one town in a day, which happens a lot on the Danube because there's so much to see. But this again just sort of gives you more time in different places. And wherever you see the yellow, that's a day trip traditionally done by coach. So of course you can visit Salzburg if you wish. But again, in Amsterdam, we'll be able to take you to Floriade as well too, and a shot there of that beautiful the Parliament buildings in Budapest. And in Budapest, of course, is where we'll have the sorry, not Budapest. It's been too long with the pandemic of not talking about things I
It's
love.
been a long year, hasn't it?
Right?
Yeah, we'll get
Yeah.
there.
Anyway,
Yeah, we'll
so
get there.
Vienna,
Mhm.
Vienna is the Palais Pallavicini, which is that beautiful palace that you saw at the beginning, where we have
Mhm.
music and opera, and then you're dining at the Pallavicini Palace, which is it's still very much owned by the family, the Pallavicini family, located right in the heart of Vienna. So those are sort of the four ways really that you can see Floriade in 2022. And then I would be remiss not to just talk a little bit about our boats. But one thing I did want to mention is that I think I've just sort of always highlighted we have great ships, we have
Mhm.
less guests on board, blah, 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 blah. But the four ships that we most recently built, which would carry 100, oh Lord, okay, I'm going to stop doing these because I can't remember, 130 at the very most. So traditionally, the now anyway, they'll be a little bit less. But
Mhm.
what I wanted to mention was one of our cabin categories, stateroom categories, for anyone perhaps looking at something a little longer, or maybe I'm concerned that maybe the cost of Tauck is a little more than some of the other companies they've traveled with, because again, keeping in mind that everything with Tauck is included.
Mhm.
So everything, gratuities, really, um, everything, all the excursions I've mentioned, there's no additional cost for
Mhm.
any of this. All of it's designed and built in and paid for up front. Um, but one of my favorite cabins to sail in, and again, it's only offered on the four newest ships we built, is what we call our loft. So hopefully, can you see my arrow there,
Yeah.
Kathleen?
Yes, I
So
can.
see these windows right here.
Mhm.
So the small, don't pay any attention to these little tiny windows back there. That's where the crew sleep. Um, but these larger windows, this right here on the lower deck, that's
Mhm.
category one. So there is no solo supplement on a category one river cruise with Tauck. So
Mhm.
that's those. But this right here is what we call our category threes. And I'm going to show you a photo on the inside, but I wanted you to kind of comprehend that that window goes right to the top
Mhm.
of the deck above it, right? So this is deck one, deck two, and deck three. So let me show you. So this is the inside of a loft cabin. So when
Wow.
I tell you it's a category three, it means that it's our third, like, because category one is the least expensive and you
Mhm.
go up. So category three is well priced. It's 225 square feet. Now it's the
Mhm.
same size as a category five and six for that matter. So
Okay.
well priced for the size of the cabin. And what it does when you go inside, you have, what is it, five steps, and it's
Mhm.
almost like having your own little sitting area inside. And this beautiful window, as I said, what you can't see now because this isn't, from there on is the roof line, that
Mhm.
window goes right up to the top, so it allows lots of light
Yeah.
and fresh air, because this middle pane of glass right
Mhm.
here, there's a switch on the wall, switch by the bed. When you flick that switch, that middle pane slides up. So now you have lots of fresh air coming into the room
Mhm.
should you wish to, and you can control it from two different parts of the cabin. So it really is, and even the television goes up and down. So if you're
Mhm.
lying in bed in the morning and you just want to know what it's going on, because the challenge sometimes on the lower deck is that you do have these two windows that you have to stand up to look out of, because
Mhm.
obviously this is actually the water level right there.
Okay.
Um, right? So when you're standing up in a regular room on that deck, then you're looking at the water, but you can't open those windows because you are
Mhm.
literally on the water level, right? So here you can certainly do so. It's a great spot. I used to love sitting here with a cup of tea, maybe before I go out for the day or after I come
Mhm.
back, and just sort of relax by myself. And again, you've got a beautiful the bathroom size is
Mhm.
perfect, right? I mean it, and all of them look the same, but some of them are smaller, obviously, than others when you've only got 150 square feet. But
Mhm.
with 225, it really gives you just. So I would tell you, it's like the hidden secret, the little hidden value. And I don't think I'd mentioned it before, so just wanted to let you know. But it is only on those four ships. The
Okay.
four ships that we built originally don't offer the lofts, but anyway, just
Mhm.
my little tip of the day.
Yeah, and it looks so homey too. The colors are so
Right?
warm and inviting. Yeah, I
Yeah,
loved
you
it.
just wanna go.
Yes.
And again, we've done some upgrades to Arthur's, which is our alternate dining. So we have
Mhm.
the main dining room, but this is a great place for people who just wanna sit and relax virtually it's open early in the morning for continental breakfast at, I don't know, I've never gone, so I don't know, but I think it starts at 6:30 if you don't want to
Mm-hmm.
go to the main dining room. But basically from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. at night, there's food, and it's a menu. You just order what you want, and maybe you just want a salad, maybe you just want to sit there, because this is literally a panoramic view at the very back of the ship. These windows slide open. It allows you to go up to the sun deck when you go in and out there. And the other thing I forgot to mention at the beginning, again, just for peace of mind, all of our ships a few years back travel with a security guard. We've always had, obviously, people that work the ship at all times of day or night, making sure that nobody's coming onto the ship that doesn't
Mm-hmm.
belong there. But now we do have a guard who's there, kind of just keeping an eye on things, just giving you that extra level of security, but also going forward after the current event era we live in,
Mm-hmm.
all of our riverboats will have doctors on board as well too.
Okay.
So I think that will just be again just that little extra. But anyway, so back to Arthur. So this is, as I said, just a great place to really relax. You can also sit outside. You can't see the chairs, but there are chairs out here as well
Mm-hmm.
too. And yeah, it's just a great place to kick back. And as I said, with less guests on board, this is allowed to be a public space. Some
Mm-hmm.
companies, because they have, 160, 170 on the same size ship, these are suites. Whereas our suites are all up actually on this deck, when this is
Mm-hmm.
the top deck, and then the sun. So anyway, so just something to keep in mind.
Mm-hmm.
The other big event that got changed
Yes.
because of COVID in 2020 is the
Mm-hmm.
Passion Play in Oberammergau in Germany. So this will also be taking place now in 22, and we still have. Because again of some people opting not to travel, we were completely sold out for 2020, but there is a
Mm-hmm.
few spots left on our journeys for the Passion Play. We have great seatings right in the center, as you can see here, to
Mm-hmm.
see the play. Do keep in mind it's a full day. Like, it starts, they've changed it. I think it used to be 9 till 5.
Mm-hmm.
Now I think it's 2 till 8 o'clock at night or something. Yeah, it's a full day.
Yeah.
Yeah, just do keep that in mind that
Mm-hmm.
it is. But again, a once in a lifetime opportunity that got extended. So 12 years from the time it ran last. Anyway, so there are a few dates open in the summer for 22 on our river
Mm-hmm.
cruises that take in the Passion Play. And you could even, obviously talk to Kathleen, and she can help you coordinate it. But if you wanted to take in Floriade and Oberammergau, it can still be done. So
Awesome.
there are a couple of itineraries that will match up with both. So do
Mm-hmm.
keep that in mind if that's something that you're thinking about doing. So with that, I'm going to catch my breath, but I think that was like, yeah, let's go to Holland anyway.
Absolutely.
So
And to see both of
yeah.
those things, to see all the flowers and the play, that would be a phenomenal trip. That would be great.
I think when we're all got to think carefully. Time has become probably one of the most important things we've all learned that is so sacred. And
Mm-hmm.
so if you're going to go, and what we've learned already and what we're seeing, and I'm sure you're seeing, is that people in 22 are taking longer journeys than they
Mm-hmm.
traditionally have.
Mm-hmm.
So take advantage of the air, combine it with however you want to do it. But I
Mm-hmm.
will encourage everybody, if you're looking to travel in 2022, don't wait forever.
Right.
Everybody's
They're
policies
filling up
are,
so fast.
they very much are. There's
Mhm.
definitely a huge pent up. I think we were all hoping that maybe we would be able to do more of this year, which would release some of that pressure.
Mhm.
But it's hard to tell what this year will look
Yeah.
like. And everyone, again, depending on where you sit on vaccines and other health protocols. So
Mhm.
I think that 2022 is going to be a
Amazing.
busy year.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, it will.
yeah.
Mhm. And you want to get those ticks on your bucket list, and you'd like to see the things that you
Right?
put off for too long. So,
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
exactly. I think we've all learned you can't wait.
Mhm.
And time and health is so important, and it's nothing you can buy. So
Mhm.
truly take advantage of whatever you decide to do. Don't keep putting it off. It would be my yeah.
Yes,
don't.
absolutely. Go with the loved ones and make those memories. It's so
Right?
important.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. And I think maybe down the road, I was going to suggest that we have incredible Bridges journeys, our family dedicated
Mhm.
trips for multi generations to travel together on river cruises. So maybe
Mhm.
that'll be my commercial
There you
to talk about on
go.
our next one. But something to think about. But yeah, absolutely, time, yeah, you can't
Mhm.
buy it. So
Wonderful. Yes.
yeah.
Well, thank
Thanks,
you so much for
Kathleen.
putting all that together. I greatly appreciate it. It was fabulous to see some of those things and to learn all about it. So thank you.
You're welcome. Well, thank you for hosting me again. It's wonderful. And everyone, I wish you health, no health. Yeah, much
Well,
health.
yes.
Sorry.
It's
I thought I said wealth. So yeah, well, wealth, you need wealth to travel. So
There
yeah,
you go.
but do take good care, everyone.
Wonderful. Take care. Bye,
All
everybody.
right. Bye for now.